Congrats, man. And another incredible book right over my shoulder over there for those watching on YouTube. But, I kind of wanted to set the stage here because this is a incredible subject right now that's somewhat polarizing. And there's a lot of pushback on this idea of fat shame and even talking about obesity as a bad thing. But I want to put emotions aside and political correctness aside and really get into what the data shows and what are the medical consequences of living with obesity.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a good point. I mean, we're not here to fat shame. It's not about that. It's to let people know that when you are overweight, typically you have insulin resistance and you have metabolic syndrome. And with that comes inflammation and numerous increase of metabolic conditions like high blood pressure, like cancer, heart disease, strokes. So there's consequences to being overweight. And there's a fine line by saying you can be healthy at any weight. And really, that's simply not true. You can't be as healthy as you are when you're fit versus, let's say, okay, you're 100 pounds overweight. You're not going to be, you might not acutely have, let's say, a heart attack right then and there, but it dramatically increases your risk for numerous chronic diseases later on in life. And that's the key, is that you want to work towards being fit and in shape and not being overweight.
Yeah. And one of the things, you first hit on is we just experienced the pandemic, and the book states obesity and metabolic syndrome are the biggest non-genetic risk factors contributing to the severity of COVID-19. Can you elaborate on what the data shows as far as just obesity, viruses in general, immunity?
When someone has obesity, and basically, typically they use BMI for this, which isn't 100% accurate if you're super muscular and short. But if you are obese, that's a BMI of 30 or higher, it can increase your risk of dying from COVID by about 2-fold and increase your risk of being hospitalized by about 3.5-fold. Now, we know too that viruses actually replicate longer in people who are overweight and obese, giving the virus more time to mutate, increasing viral spread and potentially increasing the spread of a more virulent strain as well. So if you think about it from that perspective, not only are you potentially increasing transmission, you're potentially increasing transmission of a more virulent strain, and you are more susceptible to having poorer outcomes as well. So there's numerous benefits to being in better shape when it comes to getting a virus.